Okay, I'm going to begin as more and more people join into the chat and this hangout. Just wish to welcome everybody that joins in from this time until 8 o'clock. This is a live broadcast. It's the first quote-unquote online town hall that I have conducted as a candidate. I've done many web presentations, webinars, web training with other people, other groups, things of that nature. So familiar with its technology, but I never had the opportunity to use this as part of a campaign and as part of trying to reach out to a wider audience, and specifically an audience that can't make it out to local events, anything in here in our community in Bowling Green, Perrysburg, elsewhere that I have joined in on. So I want to give other people the opportunity to come in, listen to what I have to say, and then allow me to listen to those that are in attendance. Allow people to ask me questions, to address any concerns that they may have, bring up any issues that they have that they would hope that their representative would take care of down in Columbus, among other items. So right now we have just limited people that are joined in. So I don't have any questions or anything that yet, but we'll allow people to come in, ask questions, maybe raise concerns, address maybe my candidacy, my party, my stances on different issues, whatever it may be, just to allow them to get to know me in better fashion. I know that not everybody has free time and opportunity to get out to different events, so I want to be able to expose people to different technologies and different availabilities to learn more about those that are running on the November ballot for any office, really. I'm hoping that other people, other candidates, will take opportunities to connect with people as best they can, whether it be in physical form at candidate forums, candidate discussions, at their own party affiliated events, or even other items in the community where they have the opportunity to speak to their candidacy and speak to really what they will do for Northwest Ohio, Wood County, District 3. So to let you know a little bit more about myself, I've lived in Wood County now for just about 11 years now. I've grown to create a great home here in Bowling Green. I moved here for family reasons. My family had been living in Bowling Green for several more years prior to my moving here. And my younger brothers, younger sister, they actually attended school here in Bowling Green. Graduated. Two of my siblings graduated from Bowling Green. One brother actually goes to BGSU. So family is very important here in this area, and more and more people learn about the Eberly name. I am a loan administrator with the Bank of Maumee. It is an assistant function of loan officers. Essentially, they do the sales piece, and I do the behind-the-scenes evaluation and look over of their portfolio of their clients, evaluate their financials, assure that the loans are being administered in good fashion, and that I limit the risk of the bank through my actions. So, a very important function. I am also a realtor here in Northwest Ohio. I have been for about 2 years now. I had the opportunity to work with many clients along the way, and it's been very rewarding to have, and it's being on top of my my responsibilities as Bank of Maumee. My educational background is in business administration, in accounting at the undergrad level. I attended school in Maryland, where I resided for several years. I first graduated from the College of Southern Maryland with an associate's in both business administration plus an associate's in accounting. So two dual majors, because I wanted to try to cover all bases and have a good understanding of business as well finance. My undergraduate degree through the University of Maryland University College was in business administration with a minor in accounting. Again, maintaining as strong a foundation as possible to not only understand the business environment and being a part of a business, whether it's growing from the ground up, joining in an upper management through a different career, whatever the path may be, that I have a firm understanding of business, the business concerns, how that relates to the community, and ultimately now how it relates to me running for office. Now as well, I continue my education through the University of Maryland University College through the distance education portal, and have nearly completed a master's in finance and management. So again, maintaining the business knowledge as well as finance knowledge, which I think is very strong for me personally for my career, but I think it's going to translate great as your next representative down in Columbus. So that gives you just a kind of a brief overview of my background and who I am. But to go a little bit further, I want to speak to my candidacy. Now, I started running for state rep in was November of last year, and I did this for one major reason, which was I felt that a huge percentage of us here in Will County were not being represented, or not represented well. Not to say that everything has been a complete disaster in Columbus, but we have to see that again. We're not happy. The polling shows we're not happy with how things are going down in Columbus. We're not happy with increased spending in certain sectors, but decreased spending in others. We're not happy with how taxes have been shifted around, and so burdens are hurting people in different ways. All the unintended consequences of people kind of being down in Columbus, being in their little sphere, and not understanding exactly how that impacts us. Now, as I said, I come from a private background, private sector background. So, I've seen everything that goes on in the business. I have lived through that. I've lived through being unemployed for a time. I've lived through tough times. I still have tough times. I'm one that has many thousands of dollars in student loans that continues to weigh me down. So, the cost of education, the cost of trying to maintain and grow a business, these things are very well that I'm connected to. I've also been, a substitute teacher in the past. I know it's not really glorified or really a great item, but I did work to earn the right to be certified and licensed in the state of Ohio as a teacher. I had the exposure to local schools, mostly Elmwood local schools here in Will County. So I got to really see and understand kind of the educational process from the other side, not the parental side, not the student side, but really dive in and kind of start asking the right questions, being around the right people to understand what teachers go through and what they face. You know, we see what your children face now with our educational system, and it's really unfortunate that a lot of the times what ends up happening is that we end up seeing people quick to blame teachers or blame educators for issues that happen. And again, it's really unfair because a lot of that comes down to originated in Columbus. It originates in Columbus, it originates with our representatives who have tinkered with something maybe they don't understand, that they haven't really asked the right questions. And so we're kind of at a crossroads with educational reform here in Ohio, where we have a major push of people that, they're worried about Common Core. They're worried about their students, their children. They're worried about their schools, and right, they should be. And in many fashions, Common Core is not the answer for Ohio. It's not the answer for children. In the simple scheme and how this really came up was Common Core, excuse me, was a very noble effort. It was a thought that, okay, we're going to come up with a process, a way, a standards, that people can guide towards, so that they could see that a fifth grader graduating from Ohio would have the same basis of education and understanding of the world as a fifth grader, say, in Maryland or Florida or Arizona. It was Common Core when the two organizations came together, started discussing this, and educators started discussing this, and everybody was kind of involved, and there was a lot behind the scenes. It wasn't just one person pulling the strings and saying, okay, we're going to make your kids believe this. No, it was started with a noble effort of saying, okay, standards are, nobody can say that having a standard or having a benchmark or having a level to which you want to achieve is a bad thing. We all have it. We know how much money we want to save. So we have that benchmark. We know how we want to save it, putting money aside every paycheck. These are standards that, every part of life revolves around standards and benchmarks and goals. And education is the same way. And Common Core had that original thought. Now, the problem is that Common Core became a required item, kind of a push down type thing. And unfortunately, in education, we've seen that at the federal level for many years, where we've seen education kind of pushed from top to bottom. We've seen people that have thought, hey, the federal government, we're a bunch of smart people, we're going to push this onto the states. And the states turn around and say, okay, yeah, all right, we've got to take this, because if we want to take this money, we want to take this funding from the federal government, hey, guess what? We're going to have to take all the strings attached. So the state does that. States push that down. And local schools, okay, we need funding. We want to be well funded. So what's the state saying we have to do? Okay, let's do it. So again, local school districts, counties, cities, wherever, they start taking money, and they take everything with strings attached. And unfortunately, nobody really looked and evaluated the strings before they said okay. And now that they see things like the PARCC testing, they see all the standardized testing, they see the failures that have happened in the process and all the unfunded mandates that have come along with it, and all of a sudden it's, okay, maybe this isn't so good. The key to education in Ohio is really to decentralize everything. Say, okay, you know what? The representatives and senators in the state house, they aren't experts in education. They're experts in passing laws. They're experts in lobbying. They're experts in creating coalitions. They're experts in almost everything else. But you won't find any legislators down there right now that are experienced enough to call themselves experts, because they either were educators in a past life. So 30 years ago, they were an educator. 30 years ago, they were in education. Then they became a public servant. And since that time, they've been further and further and further and further and further away from what education is, further away from children of that age, of younger ages. So you have these people that think they have a firm grasp. They don't. They have a good background, they have a good set of skills, but they don't have the full plate. But bottom was, you have these people just telling us down here in Wood County, what we're going to do, what our schools have to do. If our schools want to be well funded, we have to do this. Well, you know what? I think it should be the other way around. We need to have more control here locally. I think local school districts, cities, and have more understanding of their student population, of their student needs, than anybody would ever believe the Department of Education in Columbus would know. So I think first we decentralize. We say, you know what? We need to have more power locally and give it to them. Give it to them. Now, I believe at the same time, it's a solid responsibility as a state to at least watch and understand what's going on. Be a watchdog. The auditor's office still has an important responsibility in terms of auditing, these organizations, the local schools, the city schools, and they receive taxpayer funding. So the state auditor, should still have that auditability. We need them to be able to go in and say, okay, are they spending money wisely? Are they effective? More concentration on performance audits as well. Yeah, and the Department of Education no longer worried about tinkering with different things in terms of education, which is now at the local level. They'll have more time to really concentrate what they need to do, which is just basic oversight. Make sure that the local schools, city schools, and that they're not doing something wrong, that they aren't wasting taxpayer money, that they're performing well, that they have clear objectives and visions as a school to become stronger and better. So that's a huge item that really really I want to concentrate on in my time as state representative. Now, I'm still waiting for a few more people to pop in. I've had a few people kind of pop in, pop out of this hangout. So I'll let anybody that comes in, please feel free to speak up, ask a question, raise a concern, whatever it may be. I've seen a few people kind of pop in and out. But if you do come in, please, feel free. Just wait for a quick time when I take a breath, take a sip of soda to take a break. Just ask a question. Ask me anything that you're wondering or you're talking about. Just anything that's on your mind. Feel free to jump in. I definitely appreciate it. One of the other reasons that I ran for state representative was to provide Wood County residents choice. And I did that 2 years ago as well. I ran as a third-party candidate 2 years ago, also against Tim Brown at that time. That time, the Democrat candidate was Kelly Wicks, another local Bowling Green person. So we actually had 3 people from Bowling Green running for office to represent the whole county. And I think that's really important because a lot of times there's this thought that, okay, Perrysburg, Northern Wood County is much different than Central Wood County and Bowling Green, which is much different than southern and more rural areas of Wood County. But we all are alike. We all face the same issues. We face the same issues with unemployment, red tape, and bureaucracies that slow business growth and business development in our area. We deal with, unfortunately, businesses that have written kind of a wave of free stuff from our government, whether it's tax abatements or other things that, again, have hurt us short term and really never turn into something long term. We've seen business come in and out in Wood County. Even in my own 11 years here, I've seen a lot of transitions, a lot of things go in and out, in and out, in and out. And excuse me. It's really we need to really kind of watch that and see how that progresses, because it's not good for Wood County. But in general, we are all the same. So I wanted to provide this choice. I wanted to be this third-party candidate to come out of the woodwork, be someone of a great surprise to everybody as to how he speaks in terms of policy, how he will step up to the plate to be a solid representative. I wanted everybody to really have that opportunity to see what I can provide, and I think I've had that opportunity. I think at the same time I haven't done well enough to really put out to the public exactly who I am on a regular basis. Because I know that there are some people that still ask the question, who am I? Who is Nathan Eberly? As they see my name pass through on Sentinel or in polling or in, say, the League of Women Voters. I had a lot of people at the event last weekend that they thanked me for the time. They thanked me for showing up and speaking, and they said that they wish they would have known more about me, that they would have heard from me earlier. And it is really a task to run a campaign. So not being able to meet everybody, not being able to go to every door, it is something that's a drawback. So I ran to have that choice, and this year was even more important. Last fall, and this is where I go to two different discussions. Let me tell you this backseat, this story real quick. Last fall, the state legislature passed a law, Senate Bill 193, that set up new ballot access and petitioning rules for minor parties. So anybody that's a minor party, not affiliated with the Republicans or Democrats, whether it's Canada or whatever, everybody has to kind of watch this law and understand what it means. Prior to that, what it was simply the Secretary of State, out of his responsibility, put forward a directive that said, okay, which parties would have ballot access. So libertarians, constitutional, Americans Elect, Green, Socialists. These minor parties were essentially just given ballot access. I have no problem with that. I think in the state of Ohio, we need to have more opportunity for parties to exist. I still believe in petitioning responsibilities of candidates. I believe candidates should be held to a high manner to get on the ballot. I as a minor party, they have to do half as many signatures to get on the ballot. They have less rules to begin with to get on the ballot as minor candidates. And in all reality, I would have it one way, which would be open access for all political parties. You come in, you establish yourself, you set up your executive committees, central committees. Flip ways, go central first, and then you set up controlling day-to-day operational committee. But you have basic annual and biannual filings that you have to take care of, which I think that would be an enormous task for any party, any organization. So for a small organization to have a statewide ability to control, have the party and do the filings, I think it's good. At the same time, I think candidates should all be on level footing. I think expecting a minor candidate that would normally need to get, say, 50 signatures, whereas the major party candidate needs to get 100. I think it really should be just, say, 75 each. Now, right now, we look at it, we say, okay, in this corner for governor candidates, Republicans need to get 1,000 signatures, and Libertarians need to get 500 valid. I say split it right down the middle. All candidates need to get 750 minimum verified signatures. Done and over with. You get rid of this whole notion that there's major parties and minor parties and intermediary parties and all this. You get rid of that, and you get back to just examining what you really want. It's just organizations that are out there that people can gravitate towards based on their personal feelings and personal thoughts. And essentially freely assemble with who they want to, as opposed to saying, okay, what, Republicans are close enough, so come to Republicans. Democrats are close enough, so come to the Democrats. It should really be open, and ability for them to caucus with who they want, and hope that that political party might have the ability, if they don't have candidates in office, at least caucus and lobby on behalf of those people. I don't think it should be so hard to gain access and be put on a ballot as a party. I believe candidates should have more work to do than a political party. But anyways, so last fall, the state legislature passed this law, SB 193, and it put in pretty restrictive language that cut out a lot of what it means to be a political party in the state of Ohio. It diminished the ability for minor parties to petition and gain membership. It went against certain things in terms of in Ohio, all partisan races are guaranteed a primary, so that a party can weed out their best candidates, find the best person to go head to head, or head to head to head to head to head. There's 5, 6 candidates in the general election. Give these people the opportunity to find the best. The primary system can be good because it's gonna keep ballot clutter, as some people say, to a minimum. If you have 6 political parties in the state of Ohio, having 6 names on the ballot is not a bad thing. It's not ballot clutter. It's not horrible that, okay, you know what, a paper ballot's going to be 2 pages. It's not so big of an expense that we need to trample civil liberties and our basic freedoms politically to save a few dollars on a form. So this law was passed, and I looked at it and said, one, I was already going to run, but 2, I have to run. I have to run because I have to be that choice. Because you know what, there might not be another choice after this year. Unfortunately, because of court decisions, our gubernatorial candidate is not going to be on the ballot this fall. It's a shame. It really is. It hurts our party, the Libertarian Party, greatly. Because part of the SB 193 and election law prior to that really dictated your ability to be on the ballot based on how your top of ticket candidates, your governor candidate, your presidential candidate, how they perform at the election. Now this year, if our governor candidate would have received 2% of the vote or higher, we would have been guaranteed ballot access for 4 years. We wouldn't have had to repetition. We wouldn't have had to go out and start anew, essentially, as this new law, SB 183, kind of shows. So it was really important for me to be out there because I felt that having my name out there and campaigning libertarian and be able to speak up our governor candidate, I thought that I was going to be able to achieve multiple goals. Whereas now I'm floating by myself. There's 2 candidates in the local races or local regional races, and of course we have 2 statewide candidates for the Libertarian Party. But the one that matters the most, the governor candidate, unfortunately, is not on the ballot. So, I'm running to be that choice, but I'm also running so that I can win and assure that people always have that choice. And I don't believe in just having 2 parties. We aren't set up to just have 2 parties. Nothing in our Constitution, nothing in our founding documents, nothing in our state constitution points to or speaks to only having 2 candidates. So we have to really wonder why there's been kind of a force out there to try to limit candidates to 2 parties. You got to be Republican, Democrat, or maybe you can be an independent. You can't be anything else. You're either going to be Republican, Democrat, or independent. People are polled when I'm called for a polling question. When people say, "Hey, we'd like to, take 5 minutes of your time and ask you some questions about Governor Kasich. Are you Republican, Democrat, Independent?" Well, I'm not independent. I'm partisan. I'm a Libertarian Party member. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I'm not independent. So right now, the current system kind of pigeonholes people into different things. So you're either a Republican, you're a Democrat, or you're independent. And that's really unfair because you might not be independent. You might have a group, a party, an organization that you align with. So why can't you align with them freely in the state of Ohio? Why do you need to jump through hoops just to say that you're libertarian? In the state of Ohio, how they determine party membership or party participation is through the primary system. So again, going back to 193, SB 193, and it was brought up again that with that bill, party primaries for minor parties, when they first begin, are essentially eliminated. So this party begins, and they petition, they get in, they don't get a primary. So right off the bat, first year, guess what? They don't really exist because they have no members. So they exist on paper only. The following year, they have to try, to get people out to a primary, but that's if they have a primary and if they can get people excited enough to come out for a primary. So right off the bat, the party itself is already diminished. And this was a clear intent of the law. They say it's one. Senator Sykes says something along the lines of to prevent the wild, wild west. That election laws in the state of Ohio are like the wild, wild west. For 6 years, I never saw any issue with multiple parties being on the ballot. I would say the issues with elections. I didn't see anything, any issues with how elections were carried out. I was around in 2004. It was the first full year that I lived here in Ohio during that time, and saw the news accounts of the lines at the polling stations and those major issues that did come about here in Ohio during that election. And I don't think they had any real impact on the election itself, presidential that year. But I do believe that it was something that needed to be corrected. So there are a lot of things that came out of 2004. And some of these things ended up being found as unconstitutional, which led to lawsuits by the Libertarian Party of Ohio in 2006, 2008, 2010, threat of a lawsuit in 2011, 2012. We dealt with stuff, and here we are in 2014. So we had just nearly 10 years, almost 10 years of legal battles in the state of Ohio just to say, hey, this party can exist. It can run candidates. So that's really something I'm passionate about. Education, I'm passionate about. Business growth, I'm passionate about. I'm trying to grow my own business. I have several businesses that I'm trying to start off the ground, including tax preparation company, an accounting company to help out local small businesses and individuals in Bowling Green and surrounding communities. I'm also a realtor, so I'm a small business owner in itself in that right. It is an independent business, being a realtor. You have a broker and you have his name, but it really is you. You build your own business. So I've gone through that process, and I think I've done well to at least establish and get things rolling in the short year and a half that I've been a realtor. So I've noticed that I had again another couple of people pop in and out of this hangout, but haven't received any questions. I was really hoping that I would get some questions, at least from our first town hall event, our online town hall event. I hope to do this again next week to allow people again the opportunity to come in, speak to me, ask questions. But again, I just really wanted to be able to speak to everybody and have that opportunity for people to jump on really quickly, whether at home, instead of having to rush around to an event after work, or interfere with certain things that are going on with their life. The weekends. We all have families, we all have our lives, we all have things, and the last thing you really want to do is come on and listen to some stuffy candidate talk about himself and glorify himself and say, hey, this is why I want to win, or this is why you need to elect me. I will say, I have not spent any time today saying, hey, this is why you need to elect me. I have tried to provide at least reasons why you may want to vote for me. And I'll continue to do that here in the last few weeks of this campaign season to try to give you opportunity to see where you could have the chance to vote for me and for me to earn your vote. So with that, I thank the people that did stop in just briefly, in and out. Thank you very much for doing that. Please stop in again. If you are seeing this in the recording, please pay attention for a new opportunity for the online town hall that will come up next week. It will be probably about the same time, if not the same day as well, being on Monday, but we'll have to see as the week progresses and how the schedule fills out for other events in the area. But I appreciate your time. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you in any venue and in any avenue possible. I'm glad that technology is such that I can do this in this fashion to give you more opportunity to learn about me. But as well, I just want to urge you, please, as the election gets closer, vote for Eberly for state representative. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me an email at Nathan, Nathan, at eberlyrealty.com. E, B as in boy, ERLY, REALTY Send a message along. I'll be happy to answer your questions, your concerns. If you want to offer encouragement and thanks, please feel free. Those really help me out. They help me get through, seeing that people are listening, that they appreciate my message. And even if you don't agree with me, you want to discuss why you don't, or if you want to discuss, how you would hope that I might, with a different viewpoint, or thought, how I might govern with somebody that disagrees with me as a constituent, please feel free. I love answering those questions, and I love working with people of opposite viewpoints and opposite thoughts, because then I'm going to learn, they're going to learn, we're going to come up with something that's going to work, and it's going to be better for everybody. So again, thank you very much for those that popped in. Anybody that's watching this as a recorded event, feel free to, again, give me an email sometime. Pay attention to my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Eberly4Ohio. Again, we have a few weeks here before the election. Vote for Eberly. Talk to everybody soon. All right, thank you very much, and have a great night.